Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thanks for tuning into this video. If you're new here, I'm a psychic and a medium, and I'm a conscious channel. So that means that I can channel entities, energies, ascended masters, probably even Donald Duck, to be honest with you, while I'm talking to you. It's a crazy process that goes on in my head. It's kind of like a blizzard of information that I then try to translate into words and spit out of my mouth. I can also do the regular old channel thing where I give myself over to whomever I'm allowing to channel through me. And that's a very different process, right? We always want to make sure that we're setting our intention to channel with a specific entity. We don't want to just open up and say, hey, who wants to talk to Susan? Because that's really going to be bad. Okay, it's not going to be good. So, I know that I'm doing this and it seems to be a thing that I can do. I don't understand how or why, it just is. Before you try this at home, please read the warning label. Okay, now let's move on. So you sent in your questions. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support and for liking, sharing, subscribing, all of that good stuff. I really do appreciate it. We're going to start off with a question that is probably on your mind. It has been on your mind in the last 24 hours, and that is from Vocos Girl, who says, what happened in Israel? Right? Right. What happened? And then another commenter said, hey, how come none of you psychics saw this coming? Well, it's like, okay, let's just imagine that you're psychic and in your backyard, there's a cesspool called the planet, and you just stuck your head in there every day to see, what might be happening in the cesspool. We don't do that. I don't go looking for trouble. I'm an empath. This stuff really hits my energy pretty hard. That's why I like the questions. This way I selectively look into kind of yucky energy, and I can decide if that's too yucky for me or not. So that's why a bunch of psychics didn't predict this. However, you will note perhaps in my video yesterday that I did, where the headline starts off with new Speaker of the House, that the guides talked a lot about war. They talked about World War III. Honestly, they talked about the Baltics. They went on and on about war. So I'm just thinking that maybe this was a heads up in some way. Now, your question about what happened in Israel. Well, it's pretty obvious what happened. It was terrible what happened. It is continuing to happen. And this is, I don't really have much good to say to you. If you tune into me, you understand that I just tell you like it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff for you guys, just to feed you a line of bull and maybe to increase my subscribers. I don't know. I just have to tell you what I get. And this is a real problem, folks. I mean, obviously, this is a real problem for Israelis and for all those people that lost their lives. And honestly, there's Americans and there's people from other countries that could be kidnapped right now. There are Americans and people from other countries that have been killed. So this is a problem for the world. If you want me to be honest with you, it's a problem for all of us. So the things that I would say that I'm getting about this is that this was well planned. If you, and I don't want you guys to listen to the news, because one of the things I would say to you is if you're an empath, this is going to blow your gaskets. It's going to make you tired, depressed, despondent. And none of those things are going to help anybody, including Israel or the Palestinians or anybody. It's not going to help anybody. So we don't want to eat a heavy diet of this type of energy. We want to consume a very small amount and then let it go. Other people are attending to this. You are not needed. Take care of you and your energy. Now, when I go into this energy, this was a well-planned attack. These Hamas terrorists showed up. They actually used hang gliders, different things to get on the soil. There's reports of these people wearing Israeli uniforms. This was well planned. This was well thought out. This could have been planned months or a year in advance. And they waited for the right time to launch this. Now, apparently it was a holiday. And again, they waited for the right time. And also a lot of the Israeli energy is being pushed over to the borders, to towards the Palestinian settlements, and they let this coastal area unprotected. Now, you might ask, well, my God, do we all have to have, armies on our coast? Well, we shouldn't, right? We shouldn't have to have that. But this is what happened. Now, listen, guys, the thing that you need to understand, well, first off, gas prices are going to go up. This is going to affect the Middle East. There's no way Saudi Arabia is not going to take this opportunity to raise prices. So I'm sorry to say it, but I see gas prices going up. And not that that's a big deal when we're talking about death and destruction, but I'm just telling you, as they bring energy to me, I'm just going to spit it out of my mouth in no specific order. I would also say that this energy feels big to me. This does not feel like a flash in the pan energy. This does not feel like something, the fire can be put out. This is a big fire. It's going to be going on for a long time. This could very easily spread to Iran. This could be a problem because Iran has publicly supported Hamas. They have publicly supported Russia. Now we're getting somewhere, right? Now we're getting somewhere. Putin and Iran are in on this. This is an attack. This is a plan. These things are connected. Now, if Putin and Hamas and Iran are all in on this, how do we deal with this, right? So you can understand right now that Blinken, that Biden have their plates full. They literally are having probably the worst moment right now of Biden's entire presidency. So this is serious business. And I think that we are very fortunate to have Biden in office, because I do think that he will call Netanyahu. They have a long history together. And I think that he'll call him and say, we support you, which he's already done. But let's think this through. Before you do something that the world regrets, let's think this through. Perhaps even might say to Netanyahu, this is where our support ends. Now those are big words, because honestly, not the reason. Let me translate it a little better. One of the reasons that Russia why all this came together, there are many reasons, but one of them is that Russia sees Israel as a proxy for the United States. Now, just think about this for a minute. The United States gives Israel billions of dollars a year in support. Israel is one of the only countries that, or whatever it is, country that would say, we need help. And America says, without hesitation, we are there, right? There's a handful of countries that the United States may say, I honestly getting right now, they might think before they say that to Britain. They might think before they say that to Canada, but Israel there's no thinking. It's literally guaranteed. Now, when you have someone that's your foe and they have that kind of unbelievable support from another one of your foes, then that's a twofer. Okay. So this was a proxy hit on the United States. Make no mistake about that. This also has scared. I'm seeing presidents, PMs, leaders of free countries having to change their underwear. This has scared the hell out of them. This type of attack, again, think about this could happen truly on the coast of France, on the coast of Greece. This could happen. This kind of thing could happen. And it would be terrorism, and it would terrorize us, and it would cause us all to want to become very militaristic in our responses. And that, my folks, my friends, is why this is being done. Because as long as we're in fear, as long as we're in this militaristic energy, this is where they want us. They want us that way, because the people are not in fear and in militaristic energy. Oftentimes, the people are the victims of the leaders who might be war profiteers, which is something they brought up yesterday, who may be benefiting from the war, or who may just simply, and another thing they brought up yesterday is this patriarchal pissing contest energy of, I'm the man, I'm going to puff my chest up, and then I'm going to send a fighter to bomb you. It's this ego. It's very easy to get a response from some of these leaders. The guides are saying the people are the ones that suffer. And the guides are bringing me to the 1960s, to the Vietnam War, where the people didn't want this. Yet the industrial military complex, again, saying the same words they said yesterday, wanted it for whatever reason. Now, I understand that Israel has to protect itself. And I understand that this is an attack of huge implications and should not go unanswered. Okay, I believe this, but I also believe that this could get out of control. Okay, this really could get out of control. And I'm not talking about a war, but I'm talking about a big war. I'm talking about a perhaps even bigger war than Ukraine, because Ukraine has been limited. They don't have the weapons that Israel has. I mean, Israel's got weapons. They've got nukes. I mean, this is a big deal. I don't want to scare you, but you asked the question, I'm going to answer the question. So this is why I think we're very lucky to have Biden and some cooler heads that can prevail and perhaps get the response to be 5 levels less than max. Okay. So this is going to affect, economies. It's going to affect a lot of things. It's going to affect our psyche. It's going to, and they're showing me, right? So right now, the United States doesn't have a Speaker of the House. We can't even do our work. We're basically offline. It's like the United States is offline. Let's unplug it and see if it starts again. This is unconscionable. One of our allies is attacked, and we can't even convene a Congress. Number 2, because of the Republicans, we don't have an ambassador to Israel. Number 3, because of Republicans, we don't have some of our most important top military positions filled because Tuberville is blocking them. So we have some real problems here. And I think that the Democrats, I hope that the Democrats make this very clear to the American people that we are rudderless. Our system is designed that all of these things fit together like cogs in a wheel. We don't just have Congress or the judiciary or the executive branch. We need all of them to be working so that we have a functioning country, especially the way this country's been designed to work. So this is a problem. I think that we're going to have to keep an eye on it. And I'll say this as well. The guides are saying that Putin is involved in this, but even if we got rid of Putin, or even if Putin fell down some stairs or out of a window, or maybe drank some expired tea, this is not going to affect this match has been lit on this tinder pile, which is Israel and Palestine and Hamas and Iran and the Middle East. It's going to burn. So getting rid of Putin is not going to affect this. This is a separate wildfire. It's much hotter even than the war in Ukraine. And I would also say to you that it does irritate one to see that people are so upset about Israel and not at all upset about Ukraine, which Ukraine has been taking a pounding for a year and a half. And, shouldn't this be equal? Shouldn't we be talking about tyrants? Shouldn't we be talking about world bullies? Shouldn't we be talking about the UN Security Council and the G8 and the G12 and getting these countries off of these very important world committees that make real decisions about our countries and our safety? So I think that we have a lot to do, and this does very much have everything to do with the eclipse that's coming next weekend, the 13th and 14th. If you want to tune in and watch the video I just did with Karen with littlebluelotus.org, that's her website. She's an astrologer, and we did a whole video on the eclipse. And what she said is this eclipse is going to uncover the ugly. Remember how the guides have been saying we have to look at the ugly, we have to look at the ugly, because if you don't look at it, you can't fix it. If you don't admit you have a problem, you can't fix the problem. Well, this eclipse is literally going to pull back the covers of the ugly, ugly, ugly. And I do believe this is Exhibit A. This is Exhibit A. Israel is Exhibit A. I believe we're going to see more ugly. And honestly, heads up for you empaths out there, when you just get one thing after another, I mean, it just is overbearing and overloading. And it can just, again, it can make you depressed, despondent, upset. And you can really feel like this whole world is a shit show and nothing is working. And that is not true. Okay. That is unequivocally not true. Yes, this was a horrible thing that happened in Israel. This is a horrible thing that's happened in Ukraine. We have some pretty crappy leaders in the Republican Party. However, in your world, there's still beauty. There's still love and light. And in the whole world, there's still beauty and love and light. Maybe it's worth looking for that to counterbalance the negativity and the darkness. If you don't go looking for it, you won't find it, because our media just wants to feed you darkness. Makes more money for them. So watch videos of animals, babies, of rainbows, funny videos. Pull out that sitcom or that comedian that you like. Do whatever you need to do to raise your energy. Okay? It's worth it. It's really going to make a difference. And when you raise your energy, you are helping Ukraine. You are helping Israel. Because as we just pop around the world, even if we spend 5 minutes just raising our energy, we send that energy into the universe. And if a lot of us are doing this, we're eventually going to change the darkness to light. This is how it's done. The universe is a big short order cook. If you put out negativity, you're going to get it right back. So really mind your energy during this time. Now, your other question is, yes, we were talking about the eclipse. It is going to be a prolonged conflict. This could go on for many years. I mean, honestly, it really could go on for many years, either as a slow burn or a raging fire. I'm not sure which. It really depends on how Netanyahu and he's going to be forming a new government to govern during this time. He's going to be bringing opposition to him and try to balance the governing. One last thing about this is the underlying energy is that these people are unhappy. The Palestinians are unhappy. The Israelis are unhappy. They're unhappy. They got shoved together on a piece of land that they each believe is theirs. Nothing good can happen from this, right? Nothing good can happen from this. So this is about people and people forgiving and learning to live together. I believe that without the militaristic, when Netanyahu was elected, Israel really kind of became very divided, much like the United States. There were a lot of Israelites or Israelis that said, we want something different. We don't want the iron fist. We don't want the militaristic energy. We want to try something different. Netanyahu won. Now we have the iron fist. But to really make this all work, the people need to get together and say, we're tired of war. We're tired of being victims. We're tired of being perpetrators. We're tired. This doesn't match our energy anymore. We want something different. We want peace. I think going forward in the next year to 2 years to 3 years, you're going to see this. You're going to see the people stand up against the dictators, against the the mafiosos against the bullies and say, we don't want you. We don't want this. We don't want to fight. We're tired of fighting. Now, there's going to be some countries and some people that have fought for so long, that have been brainwashed for so long, that they're not probably going to be as quick to make this change. But for many more of us, we will be making the change towards peace. Even if it's an uneasy peace, meaning I'm at peace, I trust you, but here's my border. Don't cross it. I have my protection. I'm not going for you. Don't come for me. An uneasy peace, but at least it's a peace. Okay. I think I'm going to, your other question, Volkos girl, was, did you miss the big surprise in September? The surprise in September moved into October. We are here. I did a video where I told you guys the energy, because everyone has free will. They decided to punt the ball. They decided to just move this down the timeline. We don't want to deal with it in September. We want to move it down the timeline. Now, this eclipse is changing everything. This means we no longer have free will about whatever the eclipse is going to uncover. Again, we go into great detail in the video that we talked about. We talked all about the United States and how the eclipse is going to be affecting the United States, because the United States has its own astrology chart. So this is going to be affecting us. And honestly, it explains everything you're seeing. It really does. As we go forward, though, you can see that we'll see the ugly. So expect more things to be uncovered, more things to be exposed. And again, that might make you feel some kind of way, like you might feel depressed. Disengage, disconnect, take care of yourself. Okay, let me move on. I'm sorry that took so long, but that's a big deal. It's a big deal for our world. It's a big deal for our country. It's a big deal for everybody. This is shots fired across the bow for world peace. There's big movers and shakers involved in this. So we are going to have to see how this shakes out. And the last thing is that because Putin is involved, and we talked about it being a proxy for Israel, being a proxy for the United States, you understand now how this is bad for Biden. Because all these misinformation channels and Republicans are saying that we gave Hamas $6 billion. We didn't do that. But now, without the media reporting correctly, how do you counter that? How do you tell people that's a lie? The media is not helping us. So this is just making Biden's world a lot worse. So that's another angle to it. Russia's doing everything they can to stay alive, meaning to stay in power. And this is a shot across the bow for all those countries that are supporting Ukraine and trying to do the right thing. Okay, so the next question is Teresa Swartz saying, remember way back during Trump's presidency that he had a private reading with Putin and banned everyone except the interpreters from attending. And then he banned the interpreter from reporting what was said, what was really going on there. I always thought it was suspect and couldn't believe he got away with it. We can't believe all the things he got away with. He's still getting away with things. This is the problem when you embolden these bullies like Putin and Trump, and they don't pay a price, then the world ends up paying a price. So what did they talk about? They're telling me that they talked about Syria and Iraq, Afghanistan, money, control, something to do with was that before Kennedy resigned? Supreme Court Justice Kennedy, something to do with the Supreme Court. Basically, Putin gave him his marching orders and said, okay, big boy, you think you're in control here? You think you're the president of the United States? Wrong. I am your puppeteer, your puppet master, and you'll do what I tell you to do. Or I'll release all of this damning, literally criminal stuff that I have on you. So you can do this your way or my way, because either way, Putin is happy. I've already told you guys this, that Putin's happy whether his plans fail or not, because either way, it's disruptive to America. Even if he pulls the carpet out from under Trump and vilifies Trump or offers some evidence against Trump, that divides America. That's good. If he supports Trump and Trump divides America his way, that's good too. So it's all good, right? So yes, those are the things they were talking about, and some other things I could get deeper into that energy, but I want to stay on the surface of the energy so I can actually answer more than one question. Mary Louise says, is MTG actually guilty of a crime such as accepting dark money or something like that? Or is she just guilty of being very annoying? No, she's guilty more than that. The question is, I believe she's guilty. I'm seeing that she's guilty. However, the distinction the spirit guides would like to make, is she convictable? A lot of people do things that are criminal, but they're not convictable because there's not quite enough of a good case. There might not be enough witnesses. There may not be the piece of evidence that would literally get a jury to say guilty. So unfortunately, a lot of people are indictable, but not convictable. So that's really your question the way I'm understanding this energy. And I would say that maybe not convictable. Okay, not convictable, but there is something civil. So you see also with Trump, right, in the very beginning, his cases that are just now coming to conclusion are about money. So many times prosecutors will just switch to a civil. They'll sue for civil. So there feels like energy around her that could be civil, around campaign funds. But these things are not typically big deals in the courts. So she may get off. Let me look again. Let me just look a little deeper at Jan 6. Let me look at that. She's just so slippery. I just don't know. I don't know. So you guys remember the DOJ, and I don't know why this is like this. It is the way it is. The DOJ, the Department of Justice, they have to feel that they have a 96% chance of convicting you before they'll even take you to court. 96%. Imagine if our sports teams only threw a pass or shot a basketball if they were 96% sure. I mean, the level of assuredness is insane. You know, this is the level you have to meet before we even think about indicting you. So that's the problem with MTG. I can get her to 60%. I can maybe get her up to 70%. I just can't get her to 96%. Now, I think what's going to happen is that the first round and then potentially the second round, I see these convictions and these indictments coming in waves. So there'll be like a wave and then another wave and then another wave. Each wave, because there's discovery and we learn more things, begets another list of people to indict, which gets another list of people to indict. So she might get caught up in the second or third wave. But yeah, she's more than annoying. It's just a matter of, Amal Chen says, the members of Congress who had given tours to the Jan 6 insurgents ahead of the coup are considered to be insider threats, because you put that in all caps, according to the law. That's an interesting way that you put that. They are insiders with authorized access to U.S. government facility who use their authorized access to show insurgents how to navigate the building and the surroundings. Please ask the guides if those members of Congress will be charged with that crime. So listen, guys, I'm not an attorney, but here's what they just showed me. Okay, so you got to take this Joe Blow idiot that broke a window and climbed inside the Capitol, and that Joe Blow idiot happened to be on the tour. You would need A plus B equals C. And even then, you're going to go to a jury and say, this guy purposely took this man on this tour so that this man would know where Nancy Pelosi's office is. Okay, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of, there's no evidence. Where's your evidence to prove that this person took this person on this tour? Maybe the evidence is there, maybe it's not. But what I see Jack Smith doing is going for much easier, lower hanging fruit. If I got to work that hard to prove something, yet I've got this other text message or phone call or recorded. I mean, the funny thing is, how many of these jokers had people recording them for movies and books? Mitt Romney, Donald Trump, how many of them? Now we've got literally professional videotape of these people planning this. I mean, if you don't think Spirit was involved in this, then you should rethink it. There's other ways to hold these people accountable. I agree that it's egregious. I agree that there's going to be things that are going to get passed over, looked over, and we're going to be mad. I agree with you. However, I believe Jack Smith is doing the best he can with what he has. I really do. There was a time when I really was afraid the Justice Department was going to not go full tilt, full throttle against everybody, because I told you guys they're finding people from other countries. They may find people on the Supreme Court. Where are they going to draw the imaginary line and say, we're not going to take down these untouchables? Instead, Jack Smith gets on the phone and calls his good buddy, who's a prosecutor, who's done international crimes, and says, hey, come work for me. So to me, that gives me hope. I have hope that Jack Smith and Garland are going to run as many of these people down and put them on a witness stand, just like they've done Trump. These are new days. We've never done this before. So whereas you may feel justice is not being served, look around. Justice is very much on the field and doing the work. We just don't know it all yet, but I do believe justice will be served. Okay, I'm going to move on. Denise G says, okay, election for U.S. Senate in Texas to defeat Cruz. Y'all, we got to defeat Cruz. I'm not kidding you. I might have to move not only out of the state, but off of the planet if we don't. And I'm not talking about, off of myself. I'm talking about, there's got to be a better planet out there somewhere. Okay, let's see. Our options are Colin Allred, U.S. House of Representatives, and Texas State Senator Roland Gutierrez. Do we see either of them defeating Cruz? I do see, Allred is a great guy. I like Allred. I would vote for him. I would work for him. I love him. I don't know that he just doesn't have, and I hate to say this, but he doesn't have something. There's something missing that gets him over the finish line, in my opinion. I think Gutierrez will do it. For one thing, I think Gutierrez has been in the trenches, the really nasty, mucky war zone of Texas politics. He seems to have been exposed to that. And I think you're going to need that. So I do think, again, I'm happy with either one of them. I would be happy with, anybody beating Cruz. I would almost vote for another Republican to beat Cruz. Anything can be better, right? But I do think Roland Gutierrez has a really good chance. Okay, let's go on. WIikolia says, do the guys see the prices of gas and groceries going down to a more reasonable rate? Well, unfortunately, we already told you, I think that gas may be going up. I see oil price gouging, because there's unrest in the Middle East. Therefore, we must charge triple. And honestly, the Saudis have been playing this game with us, right? The prices are going up again. If you think about it, Biden got prices down, and now they're going back up again. That's the Saudis playing games with us, and they're going to have more reason to play games with us, truly, and in some ways better reasons, because of this thing with Iran and Israel. It will affect the Middle East. Okay, Now, so the guides would say gas is different than groceries, even though gas is required to ship the groceries to us. Now that we have this problem with Israel, no, I don't see gas and groceries going down. I don't see it. I'm sorry to say that, but I don't see it. Again, I'll take this opportunity to tell you guys, if any of my viewers are on Social Security and are barely making it, please go to the food pantry, replace $50 a month with food you get from the food pantry. Put that $50 a month in an account for emergencies, for medical emergencies, for rent emergencies, for home emergencies. There's no reason why you shouldn't do that. Please go and avail yourself of those free things and take that money and save it back, because we're going into a pretty crazy time. We really are. A lot of things can be happening. You could have a really terrible winter. Your heating bill could be double. You might not have that money. Take advantage where you can. If there's a government assistance, sign up for it. Get rid of your pride. Just get rid of it. Take care of yourself. Okay. Okay. And for those of us that are not on Social Security and can afford it, give to your local pantry. Support your local food pantry. Support your local senior citizen center. Support these community services. Support them, support them, support them. Donate, volunteer, help. Okay. Let's see. MGRIT, Gritsk says, Midas Touch and Jesse Dollamore both quoted Liz Cheney in recent posts, but no one mentioned her voting record for Trump agenda. Why is the liberal media getting sucked into her web? Are you just purposely trying to trigger me? Y'all just get together and let's ask about Liz Cheney. She turns red. Let's see what happens to Susan. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Because the liberal media, the same way that they keep falling for all the Republicans' BS. That's why. I don't have a good answer for you. There's some kind of weird, Stockholmes disease where we fall in love with our oppressor. I mean, really, it's oh, Liz Cheney's a Republican, but she's kind and gentle, and sometimes she likes us. You know what I mean? Really, y'all? Really? That's your level? Somebody should send some, a whole legion of counselors, therapists. Y'all need help. Okay. Anyway, that's how I'd answer that question. All right. Carol Lundgren says, hi, Susan. Hi, Carol. When I was feeding my dog his breakfast this morning, I had a brief flash of the Capitol with smoke all around it. Do the guides see anything, or is this just a reaction to the Congress's shenanigans? Thank you. It was scary. First thing I would say is, she says that she had a brief flash, but I think this means visual. She either felt it or saw it. First thing I would say is, you are psychic. Second thing I would say is, ask the question. When you guys see things, have crazy dreams or intuitions, this isn't just a one-way street into your psyche. Turn around and say, hello, I have a question. What does that mean? Start the dialogue back and forth. If you don't start the dialogue back and forth, then you are just a receiver. Okay. So I feel like part of this message is obfuscation, is this sense of things being shrouded. Nobody really knows what's happening in the Capitol. We don't have a speaker. The Capitol is maimed. It's stunned. It's not reacting. It's broken down on the side of the road. There's that feels like some of the energy. But I will say, when I go into this energy, because I'm going to go into the energy and see where it takes me. What is this? Now, what I would do is I would just take her vision and I would say, let me imagine for myself. I'm going to imagine I see the outside of the Capitol is what I took you to mean. I see the outside of the Capitol surrounded with smoke. The smoke is, 15 feet high or 10 feet high. What that tells me is it's coming from the ground. It's not coming from above. So that's what I see when I ask that question or I imagine it. To me, it feels like smoke has been dispersed to disperse a crowd. So this feels like some sort of protest that's gotten out of hand. It does not feel like Jan 6 at all to me, because they're not going to let that happen again. But it does feel shakier than the Capitol Police would like for it to be. And they're going to, in a way, overreact. So they're going to, in military, they're telling me that the military uses smoke to be able to escape, right? Or to be able to confuse the person doing the attacking. So I feel like it has two meanings. One is energetic, obfuscation. Nobody knows what's going on in the Capitol. We can't see in. Okay, that's one way to read it. Now, energetically, if we continue to not be able to see into the Capitol, I feel like that energy could manifest into physical reality. And then that's when we have the second thing that I described. If you don't deal with something in the energetic world or the energy of something, it often manifests physically. So right now, I think what you saw or experienced was energetic. I think there's a possibility of it becoming real, physical. Okay. Whew, let me move on. Okay. Caterwin says, what on earth happened to Iowa? You got me. It's something I should know about Iowa. Oh, when will the Democrats run the state again? You guys, whew, we often get overlooked in the news, but it's important to note that we were a once progressive state that went red. Yeah, Iowa got, who is that guy they're showing me? The guy was the first radio guy. The first radio guy that started all this stuff, who had the radio shows. Anyway, that's what happened to Iowa. Maybe they'll give me his name in just a second, but back in the day, this is really important because I think this describes what happened. And I love to make sense of things. That's what I love, when things finally make sense and I can go, that tracks, right? Back in the day, the AM radio was broadcast to farms, and to people like my dad listened to AM radio. They listened to the farm report. My dad didn't even live on a farm. He should have lived on a farm, but he didn't. But he would listen to the hog report. He would listen to all the farm reports. Now, then you have this guy coming on who starts spouting all this crazy stuff on AM radio. And these people would have this radio on all day. On their tractor, in their garage, in their house. They would be listening to it all day. And that's when the brainwashing started, you guys. And that, my friends, is what happened to Iowa. That's what happened to all those states up there. It's like a Trojan horse. It's like a meme. It's like a thing that gets stuck in your head. You can't get it out, right? So he played to them. He played to their whiteness. He played to their, the affirmative action is taking your jobs, right? You can't, in these big corporations are eating up the farmland. He fed them fear. They ate the fear. They became converted. I'll put his name on the screen. I cannot think of his name right now. And my circuits are overloaded at the moment. So there is no more capacity, but that's what happened. Now, these people are aging out, is another nice way of saying they're dying off. So I see these new, younger people really, this is the energy of everything, is the people. It's also about the eclipse. It's about the people. We talked about that in the very beginning. The people of Israel, the people of Palestine, they don't want these wars. They don't want this violence. They want to find a way to live together. These young people don't want these things. They don't want them. The only people who want them are the people making money off of it, or getting all powerful and feeling all big in their ego about it. Nobody else wants it. So I see these states turning back to blue. I really do. And also they're showing me, and I happen to know this because of a client, that a lot of farmland, and perhaps not in Iowa, but maybe so, a lot of this farmland is being bought to be built these big chip factories. So you're going to have whole communities just popping up out of those cornfields. Because if you have a chip factory, you need houses, and then you need stores, and then you need schools. So you're going to have a whole new community pop up. And that's going to re-energize and give these people more feelings of hope, more feelings of place, of identity, feeling pride again, too. Okay. So, and that's going to help turn them blue. Okay. One or two more questions. Soulshine wants to know, will President Biden replace Merrick Garland at any time before or during his time in office? I see Merrick Garland waving the white flag, going, I went out, send an Uber. I'm out. I got to get out of here. This has been way too much for him. I don't think he didn't plan this. He didn't want this, meaning he didn't want to be the historic figure for the rest of our lives in every history book. He didn't want this. He didn't seek this kind of fame, and he doesn't find it suits him. Also, he doesn't like the stress. He's got a lot of attacks. There's a lot of energy of attack against him. He really wanted to be, he's wonkish. He wanted to be the prosecutor who put people away, but he wanted to not be the prosecutor that the entire world, it seems like, wants to off or to attack his family. We're in a different time now where judges and prosecutors are really, really targets, real targets. He wants off of this merry-go-round. So I feel like as soon as this can be wrapped up to some sort of satisfaction, meaning I think we're into past the first Trump conviction. Again, I've taught you guys a lot about, I'm not sure Trump is going to live to his first conviction. If he does live to his first conviction, he's not going to live very long afterwards. But around the time of his first conviction, I see like 2 convictions later, Merrick Garland is out. Now, those convictions could also be things not in his wheelhouse. So it could be that Trump gets taken out, all his businesses get taken away by Tish James. It could be that Trump gets, arrested or found guilty by Fani Willis's and Judge Chutkan and all these people, right? It doesn't have to just be his office. It seems to me that as soon as he thinks Trump is like taken care of in one way or another, he's going to feel like his job is done. Even if that job is taken care of from Fani Willis or from Tish James or from Jack Smith, as long as Trump is no longer a threat, he's going to walk out of this job and not look back. He really is. He has taken on an incredible amount of stress. When I go into his body, he's holding an incredible amount of stress in his solar plexus, in the trunk of his body, not his heart per se, but his solar plexus for sure. So yeah, I think he will step down. Let's see if we can pull one more question. I don't know. I might do another video. We'll have to see how this goes. I am doing my big event this week. I am flying out on Wednesday. I will do a Way Out Wednesday video, but I've got a lot going on. Let's just put it that way. So it's hard to get all of it done. I'm going to do this really quickly. You have a lot of questions. Mountain Climbing Grandma has a lot of questions, but one of them is Elon X, which is, Elon Musk, is brushing off the SEC's attempts for an interview. Will the SEC get serious about taking action? I do think so. I feel like Elon gets separated from some of his businesses. I don't know how, because he's sort of like, I don't know, they're showing me prying open like a mussel, like the clam, and then prying the clam out. I mean, it's going to take some force. This is not going to be easy, but it's not healthy for the businesses that he owns. He is not a healthy leader of these businesses. And the United States is very beholden to him in regards to SpaceX. I feel like all this is going to blow up. And I don't think the businesses are going to go down, I feel like he gets pride off of them and removed. Like, for instance, the energy suggests, well, if Elon Musk is going to be your board of directors, your president, then the whole thing is going down. And then the board of directors is like, eject, eject, eject. So they eject him, right? So I do think the SEC is going to get serious. I think the SEC and the FCC, as well as some other things, are going to get very serious about Elon Musk. Your other question was about, and I think I haven't exactly answered it the way you're asking. You also ask about LaDonna Butler, who is California's new senator, who's taking over for Dianne Feinstein. And your question is, will she be offered a job in the White House after her stint in the Senate? I don't think so. I mean, she has free will, but I don't think so. Biden really has his eyes on some people, and not that she is not good enough, because she absolutely is. But I feel like she wants to go back to California. She feels a little bit like, whenever I try to take Beto O'Rourke out of Texas, I have a hard time doing it. His energy is like, no, I don't want to go out of Texas. I do think Biden would make room for him in the administration. And I think he's one of the people Biden has an eye on. I think Biden would like to have Beto O'Rourke. Biden would like to have Stacey Abrams. I think, Biden would scoop up some of these people and do a little bit of a freshening up and a changing out of people in his administration, as presidents often do. But I feel like LaDonna Butler wants to go back to California. She wants to go back to California, and she wants to make a name in California. Like, her energy seems to be very much about California and very much about moving up the chain of command in California. Like, her energy suggests she would like to be governor. She would like to go back and perhaps run for state senate or state house, or run for some other state role. So she just, when I go into her energy, she says, I have more to do in my home state. I have more to do. I want to prove myself in California, and then I'm going to go. Now, that doesn't mean that eventually she doesn't run for California rep, U.S. rep, or U.S. senator. It doesn't mean that. She's still representing California. You understand? Okay, with that, I'm going to close this shop down. This was a lot. The energy is really heavy today, and I just need to disconnect. And I would just, again, suggest one more time that you end this video, if you're still with me, end this video and immediately open up something that makes you laugh, and spend, if you can, the next 5 minutes watching things that make you laugh. It does a world of good for your energy. And again, when your energy is good and high, those around you benefit from that energy. The air benefits from it. The plants benefit. The whole planet benefits. We can't always be high energy. The guides have explained it in the sense of a piano. When you hear a song, you want to hear all the notes. You don't want to just hear the low notes. You don't want to hear the high notes. You want to hear all of them. So we understand that we're not always going to be in the highest of energy. However, taking 5 minutes a day and hitting those high notes will replenish you and make the rest of your day much easier. And if something does happen that's unpleasant or difficult, you'll bounce back from it or go through it much quicker and much easier, given the fact that your energy's up here to begin with. Okay? Take really, really good care of yourselves. I'll talk to you again real soon, right here on this channel. Until next time. For entertainment purposes only.